Hello, guys. That's my third part of the book, Divine Thoughts and the Negative Matrix of the Mind. I'm continuing with uh, with the reading. So, we were talking about that we have to be first good to ourselves, and that's how we can be good to others. So, for example, if we are good for others but badly for ourselves, we do not give ourselves love, and our sacrifice for others is simply a perverse mental game of the ego that says I'm a big deal if I do something for others, and even if I help someone else harming myself, then um, then the self destruction of my mind still works against me and my well-being. Well, if I know people that they always put themselves on the last place, let's say. They put as a priority everything else, everyone else around them, but not themselves. And at the end of the day, they are sick and tired. And when they get sick and tired, they cannot be good to anyone, right? They just don't have the ability to do what they have to do. For example, if you're sick and tired, you cannot take care for the children, for the dogs, for your family, and so on. So that is why it's very important first to take care for ourselves. First, we have to give love to ourselves. What does it mean to give love? How I see it is first to take care for our mentally condition, our mental um, condition, um, to have good thoughts, to think and speak for ourselves with love. Sorry. So um, it's really funny how many people can give attention to others and but not to themselves. Why we do that? At the bottom of that self-destruction behavior, sometimes it is unconsciously, sometimes it's just we say, oh, I don't have time for myself. No, if we have time for everyone around us, we can have time for ourselves too. I have been through that. Years ago, I was married. I was having 15 years marriage. And I remember that we were living in a house, two-floor house, and we were living my husband, his two nephew, my mother-in-law, my brother, and two dogs. Believe me, I was busy all the day with the house, the cooking for everybody, doing the dishes, cleaning the house, doing the yard, going after everybody to see how they are, and they just share their life with me. So at the end of the day, I was so tired that I remember one day I was cleaning the stairs and suddenly I started to cry while cleaning the stairs. And I understood why I was crying. I was I was thinking, okay, is that will be my life for the rest of my life? Is this will be my life? Cleaning, cooking, getting tired every day without having time to do things that I like to do. I remember that I didn't have any time for my hobbies. For example, I really love to paint, and I was painting while in the night while everybody was sleeping, and I was having time to paint. I was literally getting asleep in the kitchen with the painting. So that's why I felt so unhappy. I felt so, I don't know how to describe it. I realized that I didn't love myself. I was forgot for myself. I was forgot for my life the way I wanted to be. I was so devoted to the family and everybody around that I literally was forgetting myself. And when I started crying, I understood that I have a problem. And then I said to my husband, okay, I want to go to continue with my education. And I went to the university because I didn't have the chance before that for a lot of reasons. I was married, I get married very young. I was alone with my brother. My mother was dead. Um, I didn't speak with my father. So I was alone working with my brother, and that's how I met my husband. But that's another story about my family life. So um, I decided to continue with my education. I decided to continue with the things that I like to do. And I did it. And I remember that the time in the university was literally my fun time and my time for being in another world, because I was working at the restaurant with my husband. And meanwhile, while I was studying at the university, because he was running a restaurant and I was help him. I had to help him, and meanwhile, was going to study at the university. So, but um, I was feeling happy because I had the time for what I want to do for myself out of the house, out of the how to say, out of the this sacrificing myself energy every day for everybody. I just felt like a human again, because in my desire everything to be perfect in the family, to have a clean house, to every day to have a fresh good meal cooked, to have everything arranged well and everybody to be happy. I was forgot about me. And I realized that, okay, everybody can say, oh, she's a really good wife, really good housekeeper or something, but um, is that enough? Is it makes me happy? What other people will say? And I have realized that the years will pass, and I will do this every day without living my life. I was so devoted that I have become prisoner of the house, of the family, and everything. A slave, let's say. Then I was realized that I don't want to live in a big house because big house is really a lot of work if you have to do it alone every day. But that's another story. Just giving an example about how we have to love ourselves first. Uh, because only when we are happy, we can give happiness to other people. If I was staying at home and I was so um, feeling tired and dull and bored from what I'm doing every day, um, I would become a very nervous and angry person, maybe. And then, how to be good for the others? Mm. So, I started to go to university. I start jogging in the park. I start biking. I started to do a lot of things for myself, something that will make me feel good. I started to go out with friends when they invite me. I just realized that being a slave of the family doesn't make me happy. Yes, I was happy that I can, let's say, be proud that I literally raised the nephews of my husband. I have raised my brother, but I don't think that we have to do all these things to the point to sacrifice our life path, let's say, because everybody has some kind of life path. For example, someone wants to be a teacher or a doctor or whatever he wants to do. And many women just put this aside because for the sake of the family. Okay, but let's say this work in the house and in the family never ends. At some point, these kids, no matter yours or not, they grow and they just go with their life. And you have only the, what to say, the satisfaction to say, I have raised them. Okay, but what about your dreams? You are having some kind of dreams, right? And you sacrificed your dreams for doing the dishes and cooking and cleaning every day to be a slave. I don't think that is worth it. So that is self love. First, love yourself. Do what makes you happy and try to combine it in the way to make other people happy too. To share your happiness with them. If we don't give our best treatments to ourselves, how do we give it to others? If we are good at our behavior, it's going to be false and violent. It's not coming if it's not coming from the inside because we don't have a good attitude to ourselves first. I have said that many times. You cannot expect love from someone who doesn't have love in his heart. Mm, you can expect good behavior from many people, but that's not love. Mm, they can they can behaving good with for the false impression or for some kind of reason, but not exactly giving love. And I'm pretty sure that people who are unhappy with themselves and don't have love for themselves, literally becoming a victim. They make themselves victim uh, to the other people. So again, the path led us to Christ and His revolution. The doctrine of love myself and love my neighbor, because He said, love your neighbor as you loving yourself. Okay, how will you treat your neighbor if you don't love yourself? If you're thinking negatively and all the time even thinking negatively for yourself, how will you treat the neighbor differently? You can't. It takes so to love our neighbors as ourselves, because our neighbors are divine creation like me. I love the divine and so love myself and others, because thoughts and action always rest on us no matter what they are. If we accept everybody as divine creatures, that means that we ourselves are divine creature too. If we love God and we believe in God, we have to love His creation. We ourselves are God's creation, and we are His creation the whole our life, because God is creating us not only as a body and physical body, but as in a spiritual way, in a spiritual involvement, in a spiritual um, as a character, as a mentality. God is working with us all our life. He's opening his our eyes and enlightening our minds. But that's the process. Whole life is a process of awakening, and God is doing this with us. So, if God loves us, if God loves us so much to work patiently with us all our life, we have to love us as His creation too. It takes self observation, love, a sense of humor, and an insistent self objection to thoughts that will eventually become useful to ourselves and everyone around us. Yes, I think that the people who don't love themselves, knowingly or unknowingly, are just a victim in their childhood of their parents or someone around them that make them feel that they're something less, make them feel that they don't deserve love. Um, and as I said, with my narcissistic mother and divorced parents and the missing father, I was feeling as kid that when I was a kid that I'm not loved, and I was thinking that maybe I don't deserve it. I was trying to deserve that love, and this one day made me that unhappy housekeeper in the family, because that was my way unconsciously to prove that I deserve love by sacrificing myself and forgetting for my priorities. So see how these things are related. The lack of self-love is related with the lack of love in the childhood or some kind of childhood trauma from the parents. And that was my lesson to reach the point to reach the point to cry and to feel very unhappy in order to see that something is wrong and I don't do something as it should be. The lack of love of my parents made me believe that I had to prove, I have to give, I have to fight, I have to sacrifice myself. And that's wrong. That's not the truth. We don't have to give to the point that we don't have anything to give anymore. That's very, very wrong. So why do we have to be good to ourselves and to others? Because that is how we help ourselves first, which as a result is a gift to the rest of us. A happy man is a gift to others. He brings good cheer, light, joy, compassion for all around him. So our first task is precisely to make ourselves happy. How do you do that? First of all, mostly with good thoughts. We have to talk and think for ourselves in a good way. The love of yourself, cultivated in the mind intellect, leads to love for all and elevates consciousness, merging with Christ's consciousness, and from there, as a reborn creature, will open to you the doors of paradise or another dimension. You will have a conscious connection with the invisible spiritual world, with the divine spirit, and then you will in turn will be light. So practicing love to ourselves and others means that we are becoming one with the Christ consciousness. And becoming one with the Christ consciousness make us very different creature. We are reborn. We are born again. And being one with the Christ consciousness is give us literally how to say, led us to the gate of paradise. What is paradise? Paradise is could be also mental condition, just mentality. Then we can create paradise. We cannot create paradise here on earth with a negative mind. I understand how much effort this whole self education takes. I have experienced it on my back and I'm still learning a lot of things. But tell me, is it better to your soul to suffer under the bad attitude of your mind, take on the collective earthly consciousness within you, and be a prisoner of an negative matrix? So the mind, while working in the negative matrix, it's self-destructive. It is just programmed to destroy the person individually and collectively. And without the awakening um, and the Christ consciousness, the negative mind will destroy the person. It will make him to hate himself, even unconsciously. He will try to sabotage the person. He will try to, the mind will try to, the person with the negative mind will start using some self-destructing substances like drugs or alcohol too much, or doing a lot of things that are against the well-being of the person. And we just don't realize that this is just the enemy who try to destroy the individual, because the negative mind literally will poison the body of the individual with negative thoughts. At some point will start poisoning the whole body. There will be diseases, there will be cancer, there will be a lot of negative consequences, because the negative mind cannot give a positive good fruit. Jesus said, you will recognize them by the fruits, talking about the priests and people and prophets. But it is the same with the mind. So only the positive mind, full with love and light, can give good fruits. In that way, the person will be a better person. We cannot live positive life and experiencing miracles in our life with the negative mind. It's just not possible. So if we love ourselves and we love others and we believe in Jesus, first and most important thing is to take care for our mentality. Only then we have a chance to continue in a different way. Otherwise, it's just not possible. It's simple. If you want to look good, you have to train in your body, right? If you want to feel good, educate your mind to think good. We have to train the mind, and it's literally training like we're training the body. Because the mind, as a product of the collective consciousness and the environment and the negative matrix, is programmed to behave in a particular way. And we have to make the reprogramming the mind again. That's why positive affirmation are so popular. That is one of the tactics, I call them tactics, to training the mind to change the program. We have to repeatedly put there in the mind some good positive affirmation. And if we're consistent in that, at one point the mind will accept them. He will just accept them. Even unconsciously, they will be accepted. We can't reach another dimension until we have got our mind out of the matrix of this dimension. So if our mind is programmed to operate in the material matrix and material dimension, it just cannot operate in a next level dimension, right? So if it's only 3D, there's so many people that just mentally they live in the 3D. How will they operate in a fourth, fifth, in higher dimension level? They can't. Just they can't. So let's do an honest observation of behavior and our thoughts and see where and what needs to be corrected. No one can do it for us. For no man can go so deep in our thoughts, dreams, and in the heart and our soul. Only we can do that. Years of visits to a psychotherapist will not achieve what you can achieve on your own with the necessary effort. Believe me, only God can see so deep in our souls and our minds. And only He can help us to see even what we cannot see. That is how we receive realizations and that is how we are awakening. Our life is a result of what we think and our perception and at what mentality we are. So if we want to change our life for the better, if we want to change the world for the better, first we have to start with our mentality, with our minds. And that needs a really good observation of ourselves. So we continue the negative matrix against love, vs love. So what is the matrix of the mind? First, it is negative and critical. Secondly, there is no love, light, beauty, compassion. You know people like this. They are always negative, always critical. Mm, they don't have any compassion, no enlightenment around them. They don't see the beauty around them. That's the people with living with the negative matrix in the mind. So these are the qualities of the soul: love, light, beauty, compassion. That which qualities are underappreciated by the matrix of the mind simply because it doesn't contain them in itself. Negative mind doesn't appreciate the most important qualities of God: love, light, beauty, and compassion. Because the negative matrix of the mind is just material. Anything above that is just nothing for that negative program. The collective consciousness so far doesn't have love as a priority. That is why we live in a world of wars that lacks in a world full with wars that lacks love, beauty, compassion. We cannot survive and develop without these qualities, and the only way to evolve is to develop these qualities in our minds, to change the matrix of the negativity, lovelessness, cruelty, the draining of human energy in the name of full bank accounts without a drop of mercy and compassion. This is what God, Christ, spiritual teacher, teaches: to change the matrix, to change our way of thinking, to evolve, to connect mind and spirit. So it's really like this. I see it every day. Ah, the the mind in the negative mind cannot have love as a priority, which means that the negative mind cannot be close to God because God is love, which means that all the negative people are away from God because their mentality is negative, and they cannot expect being negative and away from God to receive his blessings. Ah, the only blessing they can receive is something to happen to them, or God to send them a person who to help them to release their mind from the negative matrix. What is love? Not romantic love, but the universal one that Christ teaches us. It is first compassion, understanding, empathy. Secondly, love is the desire to elevate someone's suffering, um, to elevate someone or the collective. And thirdly, it is an act that helps others. All of this we can apply to ourselves. It's love for yourself. Every time we refuse to judge ourselves or others, we apply love. Every time we treat each other with understanding, or um, to someone else or ourselves, we apply love. Every time we forgive ourselves or someone else, we apply love. Everyone knows how Apostle Paul described love: not envious, not proud, not seeking his own, of all things grasping faith. All this makes the mind, the negative mind. The negative matrix of the mind is envious, jealous, proud, seeking his own, seeking revenge, and doesn't have faith. All bad thoughts directed against love come from the mind, intellect. That is why the system now is high intellectually, but doesn't have love in it. So are the people who work and live in the system. They are giving their best intellectually, but they are suffering inside without love. There are also the envy and malice and self-feeling, the distrust. Why? Where does all this come from? Because there are centuries of planted thoughts in the collective consciousness that are planted in our minds and which are actually a prison in which we kill ourselves from within with black thoughts every day. These thoughts come automatically, and most people and on autopilot simply submit to them without any delay and consideration of the situation. And Christ said, reasoning or thinking reasonably will protect you. Precisely because if you consider a thought and think about it, you can judge whether it is justified, whether it is right, whether it is useful to you or to others, because black thoughts are harmful, and to whoever thinks them, poison it to poison him. Do not give it peace. From them, the body gets sick and dies. It's so simple and so hard to apply. It's so hard that only a fraction of the planet's population can still do it. Can you imagine? It is so hard that uh, to do that only some part of the people of the planet can do it. In reality, everything is simple, but very difficult to apply. The point is to understand that we need to solve our thoughts. This is the first step, because when a person yes, because this is the first step to solve good thoughts. When a person do that, when he sow a good thoughts, he will have a good fruit also, right? The next step and lesson is our reaction to the provocation that come from everywhere. You have just achieved inner peace and boom, something happens, someone says something and you're erupting like a firework. So that's very difficult. We first realize that we will need to have good thoughts, and we start with that process. And suddenly someone says something that triggers us. It's triggering something in the negative mind that it just make us blow like a firework with anger or some kind of negative emotion or sadness or something. So it's really, really difficult to control this moment. To be able to stay calm at these moments and not to inflict harm on yourself and others. We are learning that how our life. An angry outburst affects both the angry one and everyone around. Who need this? I remember the years when I started watching my thoughts. I was literally really shocked to realize that all kind of thoughts were constantly buzzing in the brain, coming from somewhere, because they weren't all my thoughts. I could hear other people's thoughts. Believe me, this is a nightmare because I didn't get um, enough of my own troubles, thoughts, but I was having enough with my own troubled thoughts, but also I had to deal with a whole bunch of other people's thoughts. I'm an empath and hear and see thoughts. I feel them as my own, and I needed time to understand that this is so, that all this buzzing doesn't come only from my from me. I realized that working and living with people, uh, while I was working and living with people, I was absorbing their emotion and thoughts, which at first made me defend myself internally. Every person I accepted according to how I hear and see it, like an empath. That is according to what thoughts and energy they were radiating. I realized that it was very difficult to be among negative and unconscious people. I felt very lonely and misunderstood, and at the same time, I could see and understand everyone, and that, believe me, can be a big burden. At one point, you see, and at one point I was realizing how much pain, how much darkness there are in people, how many passions and desires, how much they are blinded by illusionary false values, how damaged their value system is. I felt terrible and I started to get away from people, get mad at them, defend myself. I was wondering, um, how can I love these horrible people? After a while, however, I have realized that they are victims. I realized why Christ said, "Forgive them, they don't know what they're doing." Yes, a lot of people really don't know what they do on a daily basis. That's when I realized that I first had to choose my environment and company carefully according to what vibration they bringing and according to their level of toxicity and awareness. And that the best thing I can do is help people realize this toxicity and overcome it. So here I'm talking about the empaths, because I'm an empath too, and I know that there are a lot of people who are empaths, and the problem of the empath is we literally feel the thoughts of others. If we're in, let's say, in a full room with people who are thinking negatively, uh, we will get literally sick. We will have pain in the body. We will have some healthy issues because the energy of these negative thoughts is is influencing our energy, and from there it's influence our bodies. That is why it's very important, if you're an empath, to choose carefully your environment and the people you are living with and the people you're working with, and even if it's better to stay alone with your pets than to be with some fake friends or some people who will destroy your energy and mentality. So I will finish that chapter here, and I will continue with the next one. Thank you for watching and listening. Forgive my not so influent English and not um, maybe not the right words I'm finding, but I'm sure that you get the point of what I want to tell you. So goodbye for now. Take care.